If you're deciding between Google Forms and Jotform, the real difference isn't features on a checklist, it's how each one can actually handle your needs as they grow. They both collect responses, but things change fast once you care about design, logic, payments, or even automation. So in this video, I'm going to build real forms in both tools to compare the setup, the customization, the advanced logic, integrations, and even AI. So you can quickly see which one fits what you're trying to build now and into the future. Let's dive in. Google Forms is a simple, fast form building tool inside the Google ecosystem. It's great for basic data collection and sharing, super quick to set up and gives you real-time responses with an easy spreadsheet connection. Jotform is a full-featured form platform for building beyond those basic surveys, including much more customization, conditional logic, payments, automations, and it's often used for registration forms, lead capture forms, order forms, multi-step workflows, document signing, and even internal requests as well. Let's start by seeing how quick and easy it is to set up both of these types of forms, starting with Google Forms. Google Forms has a small number of templates here to help you get started, just a handful, or you can start something from scratch. So it's well suited to quickly creating a basic form like this contact information form here. It just has name, email, address, and so on. Pretty simple. In Jotform, it's also easy to get started from scratch, but a big difference is the number of templates that are available. There are literally tens of thousands of templates in their library, so it's very easy to get started with something rather than starting from scratch. And thanks to all these templates, it means you can go from something simple to more advanced very quickly. And if you ever do get stuck, one great thing about Jotform is the 24/7 support alongside loads of amazing guides and help pages. Now let's move on to our second category, which is design. And in Google Forms, there are a few things I can do if I click the palette icon to customize the theme. I can change the font and choose from Google Fonts here and the sizes for header, questions, and text. I can upload a header image, which is what you see at the top of this form here, and I can change the colors as well. So you can make simple customizations, but I think you're always going to see that it is a Google form. In Jotform then, there's full customization. So we've got a pretty plain form here to start with, but if I click on the form designer icon on the right-hand side, I can change everything from the color scheme. I can choose a preset one like this, but I can also manually change all of the colors, the page color, the form colors, the font colors, the input backgrounds, and I can go really granular in the style. I can add a logo at the top, change the form width even, how things are aligned, the spacing between the questions, as well as the font and button styles. And if you're a bit more advanced, you could even use your own custom CSS here too. Now, if you're not advanced and you don't just want to change the colors, but maybe add images and background images and so on, that's where themes come in. And there are loads of themes in here, just like with templates that you can choose from. And you can easily change layout styles too. So if I go to layout, I can switch to a card type form, which is a more modern style of form that people like, where it's just one question per page. So there are no other distractions, and it's automatically taken this form that was already created and split it into this card style automatically. Our next category is form fields. So in Google, if I click on one of the questions that already exists here, I can then click to see all of the different question types. There are 12 different question types in Google Forms. That's all there are. You can't add any new ones. You've got short answers and paragraphs, the different kind of multiple choice questions, and grids for choosing different things in a grid as well. That means you can't do more complicated things like capture an appointment time or have people book a slot, or add things like products and then track the quantities and the amount that someone would need to pay. In Jotform, I click on Add Element on the left-hand side of the page, and it shows me all of these different question types. There are loads, as well as all the different payment providers I can set up in the form, and widgets for when a question type isn't exactly what I need. So I can do everything from capturing simple questions like full name, all the way through to getting signatures, setting up product lists where I could take payment through the form as well. Not only that, but in a Jotform, if I click on one of the form fields, I can go to options and see what other options are available for each of the question types. So with name, I could add a middle name question, for example, or even let users choose a prefix for their name. And under advanced, I can change the placeholders that appear in each of those form fields too. So again, this is ideal if you want to take things further. For our next category, we're going to look at logic and see what's possible on the form based on different things happening that a user has filled out. For example, in Google Forms, I might add a question to this form that says, would you like to provide emergency contact details? I can add yes or no as the options here. And if I click on the three dots at the bottom here, I can choose go to section based on answer. That allows me to choose which section the form will move to based on the answer that the user provides in this question. So if they say yes, I'm going to move them to the section 2, which is emergency contact information. But if they say no, I'm going to move them to submit the form. form. You can only do one of these per section. There isn't really any other logic in a Google form. So if you wanted to do calculations, for example, based on what someone has selected, products that they've got, quantities and prices, you'd need to do that in the spreadsheet after people have filled out the form. You also can't collect payments via Google Forms. So whilst there are third-party tools that allow you to do that, they're not actually baked into the form and they all require another step after it's been filled out. In Jotform, there's much more advanced conditional logic. So I can click on any question like this one that says, how did you hear about us? And then click on the conditions button that pops up. It takes me to the conditions settings screen where you can see here we have a condition set up, which is that if they select other on how did you hear about us, then it will show the please specify text box for them to fill out. Let me show you what that looks like in reality. If I preview the form here, I can scroll down. You see there's no other question here right now, but if I go and choose other in this question, it pops up that box so I can collect the extra information. If I come out of the preview now, the other option I've got that involves calculations is a product list, which automatically adds up the price based on quantities. So if I go back over to basic here, you see I have product list. I could click and drag that into a form, set up my products, add a payment connection, and we saw all of the different payment providers available earlier, and then the price would be calculated and payment could be taken as someone submits the form. Our next category is integrations and automation. In Google Forms, there isn't really automation built in. You can add third-party tools for things like approvals, creating documents based on what's been filled out, and so on, but they are all made by companies other than Google that are added in to the tool. If you want to automate, you can do it, but you would need to write app script of your own, and you can do that either in Google Forms or in the spreadsheet in the background. And that code could run automations, for example, to take all of the responses and then go and make a document or send an email, but you would need to write that code yourself. In Jotform, I can switch to the settings page and I can go down to integrations to see everything that's available. And it integrates with things like Google Sheets, but also directly with CRMs like HubSpot or Salesforce, or project management tools like Trello and Slack. And they have their own tools too up here where I can choose from tables and even build much more advanced automations using a whole workflow builder, all directly inside Jotform and made by Jotform themselves. In a moment, we'll talk about pricing and availability, but our next category is all about AI. So in Google Forms with Gemini now, when you go to create a new form, one option you have is to type a prompt to create a form. So I might type something like create a simple form to collect customer information and click create. Google Forms shows me this preview of the form. I can scroll through and have a look at it, but I can't make any edits. I would just have to try a whole prompt again if I want to. I click create, it gives me the form, but now that's it. There is no more AI that will help me edit the form or change the design, for example. In Jotform, when I'm creating a form from scratch, it also gives me the option to prompt AI to create a form. So again, I could type something like create a simple form to help me collect customer information, and Jotform gets to work creating that form. And in Jotform, not only can AI create the form, but you can use Copilot to help you design the form and even add fields. It can literally do everything that you would need to do just by asking it in natural language. And if you want to take the use of AI even further, you can provide an AI agent within your form so that people completing it can ask questions if they're stuck. Our next category is pricing. Google Forms is free for personal accounts and included in business Google Workspace accounts as well. And Jotform has a free forever plan that has some submission limits, and then there are paid options for higher limits and the ability to remove the Jotform branding. Pretty much everything is available on the free plan, so you can give everything a go before you commit to wanting to upgrade. So to summarize, Google Forms is great for creating simple forms quickly, but if you want more advanced customization, logic, automation, whilst all still being easy to use with the help of AI as well, then you should probably check out Jotform. And if you have a bunch of Google Forms and you want to move them over to Jotform, you can use Jotform's Google Forms migration tool at the link in the description. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments. And if this video is helpful, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.